Hello and welcome to Graceful Connections presented by Academy for the Soul. I'm your host, Sophie Vidar, and the co-creator of Graceful Connections, together with Christel Hughes, founder of Academy for the Soul, the online school for intuitive arts. Graceful Connections is an adventure of exploration, discovery, healing, liberation, growth, and truthful expression, which is facilitated, amplified, magnified, and blessed really with grace. As graceful connections are woven between you and our expert speakers, your graceful guides into creating heaven on earth. Every time you join Graceful Connections, not only are you held in the orb of grace and receiving an infusion of grace, but you also claim your willingness to create heaven on earth. And indeed, all it takes is your willingness from a pure heart and with pure intentions. And as your willingness is affirmed, it echoes through the universe. Your intentions are strengthened and answered with clarity, inspiration, empowerment, activation. All that you need to make it true, to make it real, in highest service to the divine and the highest good of all. And if at any moment a voice within you asks, who am I to create heaven on earth? Let grace answer and remind you, you are a child of the divine. And creating heaven on earth can naturally be your joy daily. Yes, your daily joy. So thank you. Thank you for being with us and bringing your unique vibrations, colors, and energetic imprint without which the world would be missing. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and to your willingness to create heaven on earth. So let's begin. I invite you to relax, take a few deep breaths. Breathing out all that does not belong to this moment. Let's bring all your attention, all your presence here and now. We set our intention that our time together, all that is shared in words and beyond the words, all the energies that we call in and flow serve our highest good, our evolution, and be of service to the highest good of all. You can decide to open your heart or open it even more and be ready to receive. And you can decide to open your mind or open it even more and be ready to receive. Remembering your connection to the center, to the heart of the earth, and your connection to the center, to the heart of the universe, so that you are held, both grounded and suspended. You are safe, relaxed, and ready, and open to receive. Now I hold the orb of grace from the heart of the universe and place the orb of grace around our group, around our gathering. in each and every one of us, that we be held in grace and infused with grace all along our time together. Let's take a moment to adjust to the purity and the subtle high frequency of grace, allowing it to gracefully dissolve, realign, harmonize, amplify, magnify all that needs to be so, in purest alignment with divine will and the divine order of grace. And breathe. Beautiful. Now, within the Orb of Grace, I'm delighted to welcome our expert speaker, amazing multidimensional light activator, Virginia Rounds Griffiths, who will reveal the grace of your three hearts coherence, spiritual, emotional, and physical. Virginia is a multidimensional light activator, energy alchemist, medical intuitive, and spiritual teacher, enabling humanity to connect with their divine heart center. This facilitates the connection to their divinity, empowering them to achieve clarity, purpose, joy, and harmony in their lives. Embodying the light activator aspect enables Virginia to work in a wholesome, vital, beneficial, and ethical role to be of service to all of the life streams on Mother Earth, working in unison, creating a wave of balance and harmony on our planet. It is such a blessing to have you with us today, Virginia. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sophie. I really appreciate being invited and to be able to connect to this community, which I know is very sacred. And I know that you do a lot of really amazing good work in this, the community that you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us. Absolutely. And so everyone, Virginia will also lead us through a live group energy process, assist Free Mother Earth, our world, and our lives. It's going to be a guided meditation to clear the chaos and negativity of future peace. And in the magic of the quantum field, we request it, and so it is. So that's going to be a wonderful offering of collective graceful service. And thank you in advance for that, Virginia. And on Friday, November 17th at 9 a.m. Pacific, we'll gather again with Virginia for an Intuitive Readings Galore live call. She'll answer your question, what's my number one point of heart incoherence? Now, for the moment, let's dive into discovering how to transcend through grace the defective programming of trauma, stress, and the disconnect from source in your life. And I'd like to begin with asking you, Virginia, to share with us about the broken heart syndrome. That's something I discovered with you, that it is a thing. So if you would share with us about what it is and what is its cause.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sophie. So basically what happens is, because of trauma, say for instance, your loved one dies and you've been so devastated by that. And a lot of people have been known to die from a broken heart. That is just a given. It doesn't happen to terribly many of us, but it's a real, it is a real issue. And what happens is that they find it's called cardiomyopathy is the medical term for it. And the Japanese founded this when they did some research. And basically what happens is the left ventricle expands, and because of chemical issues that come via stress. And we know stress can be so devastating, and it can affect so many different parts of our physicality and our emotions. You know, our emotions are tied up in that stress. So what they found was that the left ventricle will swell, and as a process of its swelling, it then interrupts the normal beating of the heart, the normal pumping of the heart, etc., and the electrical conduits that help to give us that rhythm. And as a consequence, because that's out, and it's really, really devastating because, and the other thing is too, Sophie, more women over 50 have this issue. No surprise there, because of the fact that we as females, we feel things so much more. We are more prone to the emotional component of what taking it on into our physicality, into our hearts. And of course, the other thing is too, Sophie, that sadness is the emotion that is experienced in the heart. That's what's stored in our hearts. And if you think about that, how sad, and of course the grief, and with the combination of the grief in the lungs and the sadness in the heart, the combination of those two will then produce this abnormality in the heart and cause the broken heart syndrome. So it can be anything. Usually we connected with the with losing a loved one, but it can be a tragic accident. It can be a huge, a terrible sickness and illness. So yes, there are a lot of issues behind how this can come about, and it's very sad. I've known people that have actually died from a broken heart within months of their loved one dying. So yeah, that's the explanation.
Probably relationships, a bad breakup, may a bad breakup also bring that?
But yeah, I would say so, Sophie. More like when there's been, as you say, a bad breakup, and the person is, because as you know, when there's a breakup, there is a disconnect, and there is a feeling of being abandoned, a feeling of being betrayed. All of those things come into play here. So yes, you're right. It's a bad when relationships break up, and then of course it also is involved in how that person holds on to the emotions of being abandoned or emotions of being rejected. Right, those are devastating things for a person. But yes, you're right. Relationship problems, as we know, are huge, and they take a big toll in women's lives, especially. Some men do, and with men, I think they kind of they're inclined to work it out in a physical way, all right? Whereas women, we internalize everything, and so hence that huge feeling of the broken heart syndrome, which is, it's devastating. It doesn't matter how it comes, but it actually is a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is heartbreaking in itself. I mean, just the knowing of it, it feels very, yeah, in itself it is very sad.
It
And I
really,
think,
really is. I saw my sister who just lost her husband, like instant instant death, right? Unexpected. And I see her still. That was over a year ago, going on 2 years now, and I still see her grieving. But there's nothing anyone can do about it. The person themselves has to, realize it and work their way through it. And it takes a long time. It's not something that can just happen overnight. Yeah.
yeah.
Very
Wow.
sad.
Well, yeah, it is. And yeah, we dive right into the subject now. Can you talk also about that's not the major cause of death, is it? Can you talk about the
No, but
major
it can, people can die
Uh-huh.
from that, yes. But it can also set up heart attacks, yes.
Right.
And what's the thing, tachycardia, anything that, it's almost like a shock. The heart gets a shock. Does that make sense? And then that then throws it either out of the rhythmic balance that it has been in, and or because of the stress hormones that are involved. You imagine all the emotion behind that, and because of the stress that's involved, the chemicals that we're throwing out, the cortisol and all of those, that also takes a huge toll in the physicality of the heart, through all of the arteries, through the blood vessels, everything. So nothing. One thing I have found, and Sophie, and I'm not sure whether you have found this as well, there's nothing in the body that works on its own. There's a connection everywhere, right?
Right.
And it's
right.
usually because of the stress, because of the hormones, because of the chemicals, and everything is constantly working together. And it depends too. I mean, how, again, here we're going to come to mindset. How you feel about whatever the occasion is. In the case of broken heart syndrome, there's terrible devastation there. That's a given. But if you take a different scenario, perhaps like in a relationship that hasn't gone as far as to have a broken heart, but really that abandonment, or that feeling of being rejected, that in itself, there's stress hormones around that as well. So that then takes its toll again into this whole scenario that we're in, and that's why I always say nothing stands alone. Everything is working together. The hormones, the cranial nerves, the spine, the musculoskeletal, the endocrine system. The endocrine system is a big component of this because of the emotions. Yeah, huge.
So all of these affect our hearts and the health of our heart. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it does. Yeah,
right.
It does. It affects the health of our hearts hugely. You imagine if those chemical processes are abnormal. It's not that the heart is not used to finding something that's abnormally comes out of the blue. So therefore, it'll take its toll on the physicality of the heart, the rhythm of the heart, the pumping of the blood. The vessels within the blood will narrow. All kinds of different scenarios are set up by that. Yeah, it's
right.
It's really fascinating when you really get down. People think, when you go to a doctor and the doctor says, do you realize that you've got an issue with your heart? You think, oh, and if you've had a family history of heart issues, physical heart issues, or genetic issues, I should say, then you think, yeah, I have an issue with my heart. That's true. But then there's all these other things that come into play, and that's the emotion, and that's the stress. So those also add to the whole factor of physical heart issues. And mainly I find it is the sadness. Usually when I'm working with clients, Sophie, if I go to the heart and the lungs and I can see and feel the energy there is not happy, all I do is just get them to do a little process whereby we release the sadness and the grief. And then I go back in, and it's two different scenarios. So the heart and the lungs, where it had a lot of negative energies in it, or had issues, physical issues, now it's clear. And that's just by clearing the emotions.
Yeah, it's interesting because as you just talk about it right now, I'm getting, and it's the first time I get this image of the heart and lungs show up to me right now as a sponge. It's the first time I see the heart and lungs as a sponge, but this sponge being possibly overloaded with these very watery emotions. Sadness and grief are very watery emotions, right? These are emotions that give us tears, right? And very heavily loaded. And this sponge can be just so heavily loaded. And then as you clear it, release it, just like a sponge, when you press the sponge, then it's light and fresh again. And right. And it's the first time I get this relationship or visual between the heart and lungs and the sponge in terms of their capacity to absorb and to
Absorb, yeah.
retain and to be loaded with sadness and grief.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you know, Sophie, as you probably well understand, we're not only talking about present life stuff, we're talking about past. Yes.
Right.
We're not only talking about past life stuff, we're also talking about ancestral. So
Right.
all of these other elements that come into play here. Some people, and I just have a look at, when I see their lungs and their heart, I can feel the intensity and as you talk about this, the loading of the sponge, right? It's really heavy. And I often think, Sophie, I often think to myself, how on earth do these people live with this kind of energy in there, that the heaviness that they're living with? It's huge, huge. And you know, it breaks my heart, but you know what I mean. It really makes me wonder how on earth they get through their daily lives just because of what they're carrying in their lungs and their hearts, because the lung and the heart work together, right?
Well, and they're so closely located.
Interacted, yeah.
They're intertwined, obviously.
Absolutely.
Now,
because the heart pumps into the lungs oxygenate the blood, and then it takes it around and throws it all around the body again, and it comes back into the heart. And so they work together like so, right? They're like one. And this is why I always pick up the energy in the heart and the lungs and the sadness. And you can almost guarantee, when I say, have you experienced grief and sadness, they will always say yes. You know.
So you say you wonder how can they live with that load? Well, do they live well? Does it translate into disease or symptoms?
Yes.
What comes out of it?
Absolutely, yes. I always get that. So say, for instance, in the lungs, you can always guarantee that the lungs are clogged with the energy that is shouldn't be there, put it that way. And then of course you get the same thing with the heart. You will have some abnormalities with the heart, because either in the heartbeat or in the atrium, mostly in the atrium. The atrium is up on the top half. You can cut your heart in 4, and the atriums are on the top half. They do like this is where all the blood comes in and goes and into all these different places that it needs to go into the lungs, etc. And the bottom half of the heart these are the ventricles, and then they have the valves, the mitral valve, and also the bicuspid valve. Usually there's very little issues with that. It's just, I always find it's the top of the heart that where a lot of issues are, and a lot of blockages there. So because that's where all the hard work is done. And also sometimes if the blood is not pumping through properly, the blood will pool in the atriums as well. Okay, so that needs to, the heart needs to be strengthened to really work at its maximum, the pump to work as a maximum. And then of course, you know, sometimes a lot of people, especially when they've been, when they have grief and sadness, they're not exactly out there exercising. Does that make sense? They're not, you know, out there having a wonderful life, because the grief and sadness are weighing them down. Just like you say, the sponge, it's weighing them down. Yeah. And so, you know, you can always just, you get this illusion of, oh, there's another thing too that I find very prevalent is, you know how you see older people, they start to hunch. Yes. And basically what that does is because they're protecting the heart and the lungs. They don't know what they're doing. It's an instinct that the body's taking over and doing. So it's protecting the heart and the lungs. And what are they protecting it from? Grief and sadness.
But actually, I mean, they believe they're protecting, but they're actually closing it down.
Closing down. Yeah.
It's like
closing down. Yeah.
Like shutting down, right? And it's actually not protecting at all. It's more damaging.
What's happening is the body is doing it. Do you understand? It's just an instinct of protection.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
protection.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, but as you say, it's not, they're not protecting, it's an illusion. Quite often when I go into the when I open up the rib cages to allow the freedom in for the heart and the lungs, people say, oh, I feel like I want to sit up straight and pull my shoulders back. Yeah. Because their body then is relating to a different way of being now. They've been like, and suddenly they are being expanded, and so they open up. It's fascinating.
Totally. Yeah. So I want to, before we go on with other questions, it's so wonderful to have you, to be able to poke you with so many questions and get all the wisdom from you. So already we've identified the broken heart syndrome, this like massive shock to the heart, right?
Yeah,
and that can
is.
be lethal. Due to a massive, intense trauma that shocks the heart. There's the way stress and emotions affect the heart and can lead to heart attack. And there's the specific effect of sadness and grief on the lungs and the heart, and how it creates this overload and this sponge that is overloaded. So that's a lot. That's a lot of factors, emotions, ways in which the heart can be so having a hard time. I would say having a hard
very
time,
impacted.
right?
Yes,
Impacted.
impacted.
Yeah.
All
Now,
the things, really, Sophie, people don't even realize, right? Because we're just living our lives, right? And yet all of these stresses are coming in on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, we would get stressed when we saw a dinosaur, right? And then we'd have to run off and then you get into a cave or something and it's gone. But now this is happening on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, even for some people. Stress. And what they don't realize is how that stress is impacting on their physical health. Not to mention the mental health. Don't even go there with the mental health, but on the physical health as well. And it's devastating. The amount do you do clients, Sophie? Do you have clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I work on emotions especially, so I'm very I'm very familiar, but yet I'm not that familiar with the physical, so much the details of the physical impact that it has, the impact it has on the physical body. So I'm very fascinated to hear you and to have you today on that topic. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, our bodies store our emotions, as probably you already realize. And where they, for instance, and we're just going to diverse here for a minute, fear. We take fear on in the kidneys. The kidneys hold fear. And people don't realize when they've been told that they've got a kidney issue, they don't understand where it's come from. But if you can, because I'm able to find that people have had trauma, so I know when they've got trauma, the kidneys are affected. So this is why I'm talking about everything is interrelated. It's almost like a roadmap, Sophie. When you look at a person, it's like a roadmap. The first thing is trauma. Boom, there it is, right? Then the trauma has its ongoing repercussions in the different areas of not only the physicality, but the emotions as well. As you probably realize that people with thyroid issues, that's emotional. This is the endocrine system, right? And on it goes. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And stress.
Anger in the liver, right?
Yeah, anger in the liver. Yeah, stress. As you were talking about stress, it's interesting because earlier today I went for a walk in the forest and there was a woodpecker, and I took a moment to observe the woodpecker, and now the image of the woodpecker is coming back to me. In that, this tap 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 tap. That's what stress is doing. Is like
absolutely
tap 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 tap, right? And I mean, especially we're at a period of time when this is going on and on and on, and it's like there's no respite, there's no mercy, it just doesn't stop. And
No.
now, can we control stress? Can we take control of stress, and how? Do you have
Sure.
ways to
Sure.
work with
So, Sophie, when you look at, so as I said before, I've picked up trauma. That's the first thing I go for, is the trauma. I know it's there.
Right.
And the second thing I know, because of the trauma, I know there's stress. All right. Inevitably, there will be stress. And so some people live their lives in such a stressful situation, or in a stressful, this bubble that they're always in stress. They don't even know they've got stress anymore. Okay.
Mm.
Now, because if I will say, look, do you realize that you're stressed? No, I'm not. I'm sorry, but yes, there's a lot of stress.
It's just life.
Yeah. And then, so the vagus nerves, Sophie, you've heard of the vagus nerve, yes?
Right.
It's the number 10 cranial nerve that comes out of the back of our brains, comes down through the throat. It comes down through the throat, connects into the lungs and in the heart. What a surprise. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes down into the digestive system, and then connects into the kidneys and into the spleen. So this vagus nerve, and you know it's the two-way highway. The vagus nerve has two sections to it. It's like a two-way highway. It takes the information from the brain down to the gut, all the way through those areas that I spoke about, and then it goes back up and back into the brain. Now, when we're stressed, Sophie, and let's have a look at this. When we're stressed, we're going to go into anxiety. People, there is a kind of a buildup. If you're not constantly on stress all the time, and I always talk about it as the vagus nerve being they're jumping up and down in the background. That's how I always say it, right? The vagus nerve is jumping up and down in the background, because that's how I can. But and then what I do is I tweak it, Sophie. Okay, I tweak it, and as soon as I tweak it, you can literally see their bodies just starting to drop. That brings the vagus nerve back into a normal balanced state. And there's a lot of there's a lot of programs out there, and different people doing different things about how to get the vagus nerve down. But for me, when I tweak it, it just can happen like that. And or I show them how to do with something with the hands on the back of their necks, and then just talk to the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve comes out of the back of the head, where the cranial nerves come out and become the spinal cord. So I just say to them, just put your fingers there. You might want to give it a try, I'm not sure. So just put your fingers like that, flat on the back of the neck. Oops, trying to get it straight. And where it's like half on the hair and half on the neck itself. That's where the spinal cord comes out. And then as you do so, all you do is just close your eyes and say vagus nerve. And just feel your body as we're doing this. Vagus nerve. Vagus nerve. Calm me down, please. And I don't know whether you could feel anything happening with your body when we do that.
Well, I feel a calming. I feel like a settling. Right. Yeah. Oh, that's a great trick. Thank you. Thank you for offering this tip to everyone. So we can use that. We can do that any moment we need to.
Anytime. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Now, there's a caveat. There's a caveat.
Okay.
And the caveat is this. So, common sense or rationality and emotions do not live in the same brain at the same time. Okay?
Right.
When emotions are involved, they take over any kind of rationality and throw it out the window. You know that, right? So the thing I say to people is, you know when you're starting to get stressed, you know when the anxiety is coming on you, before you even, as soon as you start to feel it rise, do that straight away. Then it'll just bring you back down. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a given. You know, rationality and emotions cannot live in the same brain at the same time. It shows you how powerful the emotions are, doesn't it? It's incredible. And emotions will overtake every time. And you know how sometimes when we get into ourselves into a situation and we think, okay, so, you get carried away with whatever the emotion was, the emotion takes over. And then afterwards, you, like about 15 minutes or half an hour later, you think back and you think, I knew better than to do that. Why didn't I do X, 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 and X, right? This is what we do. But it's because the emotions have taken over. And we just, and we just lose the common sense out.
Yeah. The thing is, I would say even more so, because as you mentioned earlier, there's not only the present moment and the present lifetime, but there's the past lives and the ancestral trauma and emotions that we have inherited. So unless we have what I call an emotional hygiene, in which we take the sponge and press it regularly so that our heart and lungs feel good and take care of all our different emotions. Unless we have this hygiene or fitness in terms of our emotions, then it is a flood when something brings us emotions at one specific moment. It adds up to the pool of all that has been accumulated through this lifetime and past lives and ancestors. And that's where it becomes so overwhelming, because it's just too much to handle, right?
Absolutely, you're right. And then let's talk about too the other parts that could be infiltrating this, Sophie, and that is the parallel lives. Okay.
And parallel lives. Okay. Do you want to go there? I'm intrigued.
Not really. I'm just saying that's another part that affects us and we don't even know it. We're completely we're familiar now that past lives are real, right? They have happened and they are part of our now eternal now moment. And then we look at the ancestral stuff. We know that we've inherited, because there's a lot of studies on ancestral. The blacks in America, how they are suffering many generations later with the impact of what had happened to their ancestors. The Jews, same thing with the Jews. They're impacted by all the atrocities, all the things that have happened to them through life, from their ancestors. And here now, then we talk about the parallels, and people think, oh, okay, what is a parallel life? So just for want of a better way of expanding it, it's a life that's happening in a different dimension that is bleeding into the one that we're in now. And so sometimes that can also impact as well. So but as I said, with the past lives and with the ancestral, we're familiar with that, but the other one we're not. So, but it can also impact on our physicality, on our emotions. And it's really quite interesting, because people will say, well, why did that happen to me? And then if you do some exploration, you'll find that it is from a parallel life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes we wonder, why do things take such proportions emotionally? Why are things so overwhelming or so loaded, or why is there such a magnitude when you compare to the events themselves? It's like, oh well, it wasn't such a big deal, but there's all these. Yeah, and you're right. We thought we got it kind of figured out with the past lives and ancestral lineages, but there's all these parallel lives now. It brings like totally to a whole whole new dimension.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
That's, yeah. Now I want to come back to the vagus nerve. When you say, I'm intrigued about what you said, that you tweak it. So do we need to be in the room with you so that you can tweak it, or can you do this remotely?
Remotely. Yeah, remotely.
Mm,
And I try to teach people as much as I can, because there's so much stress out there, right? And I
right.
tell everybody, use this tool. That's why I'm glad that I got to demonstrate it today, so that people that are listening to this will also be able to help themselves by just doing it. It's so simple and it's so quick.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
just, you can literally, because I always say to you, tell me if you can feel change. Because the work we do, we're entrained with the person that we're working with. So we can feel and see everything that's going on in them. Yes. So that's why I can literally feel my body when I'm doing that. I'm going down. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, wonderful. I love it. Okay, let's move to, it's very related. Emotions and limiting beliefs are very related. Can you talk about limiting beliefs and how they literally kill our dreams?
Absolutely. We are programmed through all the stages of our lives with limiting beliefs, yes, especially when we're little.
Right.
And when you're little, you're in theta mode, aren't you? Between the ages of 0 and 7. And in that theta mode, this is why children sponge up so much. This is why they learn so quickly in those first 7 years, because they're in theta mode. Their brains are in theta mode. And when after the age of 7, then they start being like the rest of us. We're in, is it beta mode? Beta mode? Yeah, mode, yeah. So these, and the other thing is too, Sophie, we don't often think about what happens in vitro. Yes. When you're a child, when you're a fetus, and you're taking on the energies from your parents, from the surroundings, the environment, the fetus takes on that energy as well, that programming. So as we start to come through the different years, first those 7 years, and then more or less from 10 to 16, you've got your teenage years, which you've been programmed with. Then from 16 to 28, say, you've got your adult years. All of this time you're being programmed. You're being programmed by your parents at your first ones. You're being programmed by your siblings, because they just want to do that anyway, because they're always up to mischief with the little ones. Then you're programmed by your school, by your peers when you get into your teenage years, which are, as we all know, they're not the nicest years of the that we have to wade our way through. And then, of course, you, as a young adult, you're being programmed as a young adult. So it comes to the point where somewhere along the line, and in all of that programming, if we don't have the awareness, Sophie, right, which we don't have an awareness at that early age. Very few of us do. And when we don't have that awareness, we're just taking on everything and making it ours without discerning what is real and what's not. Because at that stage, there's so much going on. You're not discerning enough. It's not until you sort of get into your, some people in their 30s and 40s and 50s, that all our soul starts now to guide us to why we came. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're taking on the belief system of others, and we're not discerning enough to say, and the other thing is too, Sophie, we want to be liked, right? We want to be accepted. Yeah. So we take on other people's truths as ours. And we, even if it doesn't sit right with you, we still are reluctant to say, no, I don't, because of the fact that we want to be liked and because we want to be accepted in society. So we go along with the flow like sheep, because that's what it is. And as a consequence of that, our limiting beliefs then, and if somebody, in many ways, I'm not good enough. It's one of the biggest ones. Yes. Maybe I'm not pretty enough. Maybe I'm afraid that other people I might put my head up above the parapet and then I'll get shot for it. So I would say something that I may get into trouble for, right? all of these things. Now, taken into consideration as well, they could also be part of what we've experienced in our past lives. But limiting beliefs, when we, I have to go back to my own childhood, and I was always out of the box. Believe it or not, I was always never wanted to toe the line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I never wanted to toe the line. I always thought outside the box, but as a consequence, because of the times that I grew up, I was constantly being pushed down. And I was just
Back
thinking
to
about
the
it.
box, being
Yeah,
boxed,
trying to get me back.
right?
Yeah, to leave me in the box. Yeah. And
Yeah.
only because of my mother's programming. Got it? That was her programming. And this is what
Right.
we, even though we have these kinds of programs, that this programming of when we were children, we have to also consider and take into consideration the times that they grew up and their belief systems that were hammered into them. And you have to do this, you have to be seen, you can be seen but you can't be heard, all of that kind of stuff. So, and a lot of women have problems with their throats because they're not speaking their truth,
Right.
and they've been suppressed from doing that. And as a consequence, you always, a lot of people, especially women, have the feeling of not being good enough. And also the fact that we are being judged by our peers if we step outside the parameter. Okay? And so limiting beliefs, they really do. They kill our dreams. You imagine how many times I remember when I was a child, all these wonderful dreams that I had. But, did I actually, many circumstances stopped me from that, because at the time when I was growing up, males were dominant. Okay. The men, it was accepted by males to do whatever they could, but it wasn't acceptable for a female.
Right.
Yeah. And so you had to stay within those confines of your environment with the people that you knew, all of that. And I was devastated because I wasn't able to, take advantage of what I knew I was capable of doing, but I was prevented from doing so because of my dreams were shattered because I wasn't permitted to do it. Yeah. And limiting beliefs, oh my goodness, yes. Our beliefs that we're not good enough, our beliefs that if I do succeed, what then? And my beliefs of what happens if I am brought to the attention of, like we are now in this kind of a situation where, you put yourself up there to be, because of the work that you do. It's not because of any egoic thing. It's because of what you're doing from the heart. Right.
Yeah.
And so what do you do? And then, if I do that, then I'm going to get judged by my family. That's one of the first ones. Family and friends. These are the two areas that most of us are afraid to step forth into our power because of the judgment of family and friends. Those two things. How come, that person, she's doing that, but I know her, and that she wasn't like that. She didn't do that kind of stuff when, back in 20 years ago. That's fine. That was 20 years ago. You were a different person there. Now, this is a new you. This is the you that you're really living through your heart to do, and not through your limiting beliefs. Does that make sense, Sophie?
Yeah, absolutely. Because so that, it's not our little dreams, it's the dreams of our soul, how our soul incarnated with those dreams to live those dreams, right? That's what is being killed. It's not the little dreams of, I wish we saw that. It's the big dreams of the soul. Now, as I hear you, I can see how it relates us back to the sadness of the heart, because if it kills our dreams, our soul's dream, here comes the grief again, right? There's all the grief of our soul's dreams when they are being killed, and how that comes back to impacting our hearts.
Do you know something, Sophie? I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's one of the things that I always notice, that when I say to somebody, I detect grief and sadness in your heart, and they will sort of, they think about it and they, no, I didn't. No, that doesn't resonate for me. I said, well, okay, how about if I say the grief and sadness about your life not panning out the way you wanted it? Ah, yes.
Yes, yes, I get shivers. I think this resonates throughout the audience, and that
Yeah.
many are picking up on that. Many are
Yeah.
picking up on that.
It's
Yeah,
the grief and sadness about their lives and how it didn't go the way
yes.
they wanted it to. Their dreams, they didn't realize their dreams. Yeah, absolutely. And
Wow.
it becomes a big aha moment when we do that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
fascinating stuff, Sophie. Thank you for asking about that,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah,
it's a very
absolutely.
important part of
Thank you
all
for
of us.
bringing it up. Yeah,
It's
it is.
all of us.
I mean, it's nothing less than the dream our soul had by incarnating. I mean, that's how huge it is and serious, and it's the whole point of this lifetime. So that's that's really, really, it's really
It
a big,
is.
right?
It
It
comes
is
back to your purpose, isn't it? Right?
exactly. It's the soul's purpose in this
Yeah.
incarnation. So,
What I
yeah,
must say about that, Sophie, too, is that a lot of people think the purpose is some big, we all have to be somebody like Oprah Winfrey, or it's
right.
not at all that way.
Mm, mm, mm,
It's just
mm.
living your life the best you possibly can. And the old adage, which is, do unto others as you would have them done to you. If you can live your life by that process, then you're doing what your soul wanted you to do in the first place.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
That's what your
yeah,
soul's about. It's
yeah,
about raising your vibration, getting
yeah,
yourself to that stage where you're only radiating on the love from your heart, right? And from
yeah,
your entire physical and all of your energy matrix, the whole of your energy matrix, whether it doesn't matter whether it's physical, emotional, whether it's etheric, it's all your bodies, every part of you is radiating that love. That is your soul's purpose, to do the best you can under the circumstances that you find yourself living.
yeah, absolutely. And I love how we are transitioning to a different perspective on the heart. So we've talked a lot about the many ways, the many factors that affect our heart, and the many ways our heart can be suffering. Um, let's take a slightly different perspective and look into our heart as a source of guidance and insights. And so my question to you is, how can we access our heart for those insights, this guidance, and for clarity of decision making?
Absolutely. So, once upon a time, if somebody had asked me about this, I would have, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. There's no way in the world I would know. So, if you, from my perspective, your heart isn't just in your chest area. It's much bigger than that, right?
Right. Mm.
We use our amazingly powerful imagination to see your heart as this huge, expanded part of who you are, out from your center, from your heart, from your heart chakra. It opens and it bursts and it becomes this amazing part of your energy matrix. Now, I always say to people, just to keep it initially, to keep it so that they can work with it instead of going to this area here, but just see yourself shrink it down to the size of your thumb. Yes. And then just go into your heart center, and in your mind, just see yourself inside your heart center. It doesn't have, it can be, like the size of your chest, just initially, until such time as you get used to it. Because it's like anything else, Sophie, it's the more you do it, the more practice you give it, the stronger it becomes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger that muscle becomes. So just see yourself shrunk down there. And or you can go using your third eye. You can see yourself here going down via a lift, right? So you can see yourself going down via the lift, going all the way down through until you're sitting in your heart center right now.
I love this. I love
And
this establishing a lift between, because many people are just stuck in their head and in their thinking, and it's just suggesting or inviting them to go down to their heart makes such a great difference. And having this lift, I really love it. That's another great tool that you're offering to our audience. Sorry, I interrupted, but I felt that this was really, really important. It's a great
You
gift.
know, thank you, Sophie, because of all the things that we spoke about, this is one of the most important.
There we
Is
go.
accessing your heart and going into the heart. So what I do is I just shrink I just go in. And now I'm used to it and I just go into the heart. But when you first start out and you're trying to figure out how to do it, you think, oh, so that's why if you shrink yourself to the size of your thumb and you just go down into your heart. Now, see yourself sitting in your heart and you're in this, you can make this heart center of yours as big or small as you want to, but let's just have a look at it. You can actually furnish it the way you want it. Does that make sense? Do you remember? Yeah. I don't know whether you remember that TV series called was it I Love Jeannie? Was it Jeannie? She was in the box. She was the genie in the glass. It was an American thing. You probably didn't remember because you're in Europe. Anyway, so she was living inside this glass jar, this beautiful ornate glass jar, right? And in this glass jar, she had all these beautiful cushions, like from Aladdin's lamp type thing, all these beautiful cushions, and she had the turban and all that sort of thing. Anyway, so I would say, look, go and have a look and then furnish this so that it's yours.
Right.
Okay. You might even want to see it as a geode. You know what I'm talking about? A amethyst geode, maybe a crystal cave, right? And in that crystal cave, you see diamonds and you see emeralds and you can see, sapphires and rubies all in the walls. Any way you want to make it yours, you make it yours. Yes.
Right.
And, that could happen over time and you can change that as you go along. So that's not a problem. And the other thing is I always see crystal benches in there or crystal seating, and maybe with all those beautiful cushions like as in the Arabian Nights. And usually I see on the other side opposite me, you can either ask for your higher self to come and be there.
Right.
Ooh la la, I don't know whether you can feel that.
Yeah.
So tell them to bring the higher self in there with them. And or with me, I have a heart team. So I say all my heart teams can come in there. So if I have a financial team, I ask my financial team to come in and I ask a question.
Let's have a meeting. We have a board meeting. Yes. In the heart. Yes.
Because the heart is you. So then the other way that you can test this as well is, say you have an issue that's troubling you, so that you're thinking, we always think with the mind, right? The mind we think it's so powerful and it's not. So we think this thing through the mind, we ask the question of the mind, we see what answer we get from the mind. Fine. And then if you go into your heart and you ask the same question, you'll get a different answer. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
So you trust what you're getting in your heart, because that's where you'll get your real answer, in the heart itself.
That's
right. The heart will give you clarity, Sophie. It's beautiful.
It almost feels like at this moment, it feels like the heart, there's a pain of the heart and hearts, the pain of how the hearts have been left out of the equation, have been kicked out, have been sent out of, like dismissed. And there is a pain of the hearts. And I think that's maybe what is being expressed at the moment. And there's such a huge desire of the heart to come back,
participate in their lives,
to be reinstalled, to be embraced again, because hearts want to serve and to bring all these amazing wisdom and guidance, to bring the voice of our souls, right? And
absolutely, Sophie.
It's very interesting to witness and to sense this pain of the heart. So perfect transition. I want to bounce on this because we've touched to this such a deep desire of the heart to come back, right? To come back to its rightful place. It's in the middle. It's right there in the middle, right? It wants to be at the center, right? So you've created, Virginia, a wonderful offering, triple heart coherence. So that's triple goodness. And we'd love to hear all about it. So for everyone to follow, you can go to gracefulconnections.com/Virginia2, or just scroll down on the page to discover Virginia's special offer. Virginia, would you please reveal what you have created for our audience?
Absolutely. So if we have a look at the significance of the three hearts, we're looking at the heart, the physical heart, which we've been speaking a lot about. We're also looking at the emotional heart, which is so much part of our physicality and part of who we are, the emotions. Now, my understanding, Sophie, is that when we come to the earth plane, our desire is to experience emotions, because it's the emotions that help us grow. Okay? And how we can get, if we can get control of those emotions and look at it from a detached viewpoint. So yes, the issue is happening, but we're not being overwhelmed by those emotions. We have those emotions because we all feel them. That's what earth plane does. It allows us that working and being in the emotions. But as you go through life, you learn not to have the roller coaster effect of the emotions. So and then of course we're looking at the spiritual heart, which is what we've just been talking about, going into the heart center, asking from the heart center, and helping to realign the three. Because Sophie, basically, once you've got them, the three of those realigned, you're already on your way to mastery. Does that make sense, Don?
Yes. Yes.
And when you're a master of all of these three components, the coherence, the coming together, makes you live a life of bliss, makes you live a life of joy, makes you live a life where you're not constantly up and downing with emotions, constantly in drama, any of those things. And stress is like, whatever, right? It doesn't matter, because it's not, the focus is not on the emotions. The focus is not on the drama that we can create because of those emotions. So that's what this is about, is realigning the whole of the three hearts together, so that we are then in a balanced and beautiful state for our soul to keep going and to complete the journey that we came on this earth plane for.
Beautiful. I love it. I love, because I keep hearing heart-centered, right? We talk a lot about being heart-centered or living a heart-centered life. Well,
Yes.
it cannot be only from the emotional heart, or only from the spiritual heart, or only from the physical heart. We need to be complete, right? So
Yes.
how do we do that? How do you guide and support us brilliantly doing that?
Well, with all of the different components that we spoke about within the package that we're working with, taking into consideration we've got the MP3s that are involved here, which are helping to bring all those parts of us together. It's not something that is a quick fix, Sophie. Nothing
Right.
is. We have to work at these things, right?
Yeah.
And unless, we've got to such a stage now in our lives and in our evolution as humans, where we've got the supposed best medical practices, the hospitals, everything that you can think of, and yet still mental health issues. We've got all this help for people to have mental health issues, and still we are not connected because of our disconnect from source. This is the spiritual heart, the spiritual part of us that this is how I see it, the amount of people that are disconnected. And I'm not sure whether that is from their childhood, from their growing up, or because of the fact that they've been hurt and they've built up heart walls. Now, that's another factor that comes into it. Heart walls are also part of this. And we know that those heart walls, they can come in and just build layer on layer. And people find it very hard to give and receive at the same time through heart walls. So when we can get the whole three of them as one, then we can complete this journey of the mastery. As I said to you, Sophie, if somebody had asked me about this 5-10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to be able to answer this. I wouldn't have been able to do this work, right? Because it's a process of learning and working on yourself. It's an inner job, inside job. All of this is an inside job. Okay?
Right. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Now, let me give, and everyone, of course, you have all the details on the special offer page, but let me give you an overview of the package. There's actually 2 options. Let me start with option 2. Option 2 includes 3 Healing the Triple Heart live workshops, live plus the replay, so you can keep working on them, right? 3 Healing the Triple Heart live workshops. So, Virginia, that's each workshop is dedicated to one, the physical, the emotional,
and spiritual,
and the
yes.
spiritual heart. What happens in these live workshops, in brief?
Just briefly, we talk about the effects of those 3, the different issues, like the physical heart, the emotional, and the spiritual. And I think it's in the second one that we do heart walls. We break down heart walls. So there's a lot of tools I give people as we're going through as to what, and then of course if they have questions and answers as well. So usually I say it's 45 minutes, but it's usually longer than that. Yeah.
Okay. So healing happens, tools are collected, and questions and answers.
Yes.
Okay.
And aha moments too.
Oh, for sure. We can be sure that they happen through this mix of all those elements. Okay, so these are the 3 Healing the Triple Heart live workshops. There's 21-day reset and calibration. That's a remote transmissions. Can you tell us what's going on with
a Monday at 10 a.m. my heart team come together, and then whoever has bought the package, we give the 21-day remote healing, resetting and recalibration, because there's a lot of resetting and recalibration needed. There's a lot of people who have, we're not only talking about the broken heart syndrome, but also, sort of they're disjointed. They need to come back into the center. They need to be reset, and then we recalibrate all of that in that 21 days. So it's really fascinating how the process, and it's all remote. They don't have to do anything. All they have to do is just say thank you to the powers that be, to the heart teams, and let it happen. Just be open to receive.
All right. So that's healing. That's like 21 days of healing, day after day after day. That's being received. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Wonderful. Then there's a set of 5 audios, Ultimate Heart Healing.
Yeah. Those are the MP3s. Yes.
Right.
That are set out for the different issues of the heart and the mind, the mindset, the limiting beliefs, etc. So those are all processes as well, and to help them through it, because everything is energy, as you know, Sophie. And when those MP3s are made, they are infused with the energy for those particular subjects. So they will work on the individual as they listen to them, and they can also listen to them. I would recommend that they listen to them initially, the first time, if they can, with their earphones, and then after that they can play them in the background. They don't have to, as long as they make it their intention that the healing continues. That's all that needs to be done. Yeah.
Wonderful. So this is a whole set of tools that we have available, like a library of heart care and heart healing, right? And there's
Absolutely. Yeah.
also a bonus 3 audio sets. So these are three very specific audios. What are they about?
Yes, because now triple heart, when we do the triple heart, that is opening your own beautiful heart and connecting to the source of all that is, the heart of source and the heart of Mother Earth. And connecting the three is a golden shaft that runs all the way through. And then we expand that out. So this is basically using that process, which is very powerful. And number one is excuse me. One is for confidence as well, which is brilliant. And one is, oh gosh, I can't remember. Clearing the physical and the emotional effects that happen to your heart issues. Sorry, there's energy coming through. Whenever I'm talking about this, since I go to the heart, it's like, no, everything stopped. Especially with the triple heart, it's really, really powerful. Then there's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and the stress clearing. As we know, thoughts, feelings, and emotions always get in the way. They're the things that rule our lives if we don't take ownership of them, okay? And then, of course, the new and confident you. So if you're much more confident, then this completely will negate your limiting belief system, that what all the things that go on there. So, you know, if you're still controlled by limiting beliefs, then the inner confident you won't be able to come to the fore. So this is to help you to have that happen. Yeah.
Right. Knowing that in the 5 audio set mentioned earlier, there's one that's specific about limiting beliefs. That is, limiting beliefs vanished. So this can be seriously worked on. One is about controlling stress. One is about depression and emotional health, broken heart syndrome, and the vagus nerve in your heart. So what I can see is that with this set of 5 audios plus the bonus set of 3 audios, it's really a tool set so that we're equipped for this emotional hygiene that and fitness that I talked about earlier, that we can right, we have our toothbrush for our teeth, but we have our audios to take care of our emotions, and in that way to take care of our heart.
Absolutely. You're dead right, Sophie. And, you know, there's another component which is not part of this package, but something else that we call the spiritual hygiene. Okay, so that's another whole other story, which is absolutely fantastic. And spiritual. I've got that. I had a workshop in September on that, and it was absolutely amazing. Yeah. Spiritual hygiene.
So that's option 2. All of this is option 2. Right? The triple 3 live workshops. There are 3 of them. Healing the triple heart, the 21-day reset and recalibration, that's remote healing for the heart, and the 5 audio set plus the 3 audio set. That's option 2. And then there's option 1 that includes all of this plus a 30-minute private session with you, Virginia. What happens in this private session?
It's really interesting because I go with what I'm asked by the client, what the client needs, all right? And it could be anything, anything at all. But our focus is on the 3 hearts. And we definitely, because grief and sadness, boom, straight up, boom. That's the first thing we will probably work on. If somebody has a problem with tachycardia or arrhythmia, we'll go and work on that as well. Work on the physical heart if it's needed. So it depends on what is needed by the person that's having the session. Then we will work on that. Yeah.
I'm hearing that you're the, as you're talking about this, it's like we go to the heart doctor. You're the heart doctor, and whether it's a physical heart, emotional heart, spiritual heart, or all of them, we bring our heart issues to you, and with you, Virginia, heart doctor, you take care of it. Is that right? That's what the session. The session is a consultation with a heart doctor.
I've never thought about that, but thank you for that one. The
You're
heart doctor.
welcome.
You know, I place so much importance on the heart, Sophie, because you know
Yeah.
it is absolutely amazing. You think about it, when somebody manages to release all the heart walls that they've been carrying for probably not only this lifetime but before, previous lifetime, and then they go, you know, when they open their hearts at last, when those walls have fallen off, it's just incredible. The result is more than precious. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you teach them how to think from the heart, how to go into the heart, because a lot of people don't know how to access it, as you know.
Right.
And it's not the easiest thing to do, is to access the heart. But it's absolutely incredible. And then of course all the emotions that impact on our hearts, very, very difficult. And then being able to open up and connect using the triple hearts, especially, not this process, but the MP3s. When we go into the MP3s and you connect the three hearts together, it's like whoosh, that energy is just amazing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. What I can perceive as well is that this 30-minute session is really packed, because you work like you are fast, right? So in the 30 minutes, a lot can be happening, and a lot actually happens. And it is a really
Absolutely.
packed time with you.
It is. It is. I can go through so many things in just in that short period of time.
Right.
And sometimes people can get a bit sort of they can get a bit, should have put, in wonderment because of the things that are found in there that they had never ever thought about before. So it's really quite a fascinating process to when you do. I love the one-on-ones, Sophie. They're absolutely gorgeous. People are just amazing, you know, and their experiences are fantastic. I had a lady yesterday, and she couldn't speak her truth, and when we did what we did to release that, she then saw herself having her head cut off in the guillotine, time of the guillotine. And another part of what she was experiencing was the problem with, she can paint, she loved her painting, but she's only mechanical, she can't put her heart into it. So we cleared that as well, and the breakthrough was huge. Amazing. So these are all the kinds of things that can happen in a session, you know.
Yeah.
As I said, I work with what people want, what they're needing. Yeah.
Now, and what I want to bounce on what you mentioned just before about accessing the heart, because yes, we may not know how, and that's the case of many people. But what I'm picking up also is that there's the knowing how, but there can be also a lot of fear, because if the heart is in such pain or has been so damaged and suffering so much, then it is scary to go there. And the thought of going there, like, we can be very reluctant and resistant, and yet we understand that we would benefit from accessing it, but going there alone can be so scary. And that's when having a guide like you, who knows the way and knows how to get there and how to take care of getting there and getting comfortable there, it is essential to make it possible. It's not only about knowing how to access it, it's about making it possible to get there,
To be and feel safe.
right, feeling safe despite all all the pain and all that may have built up. Like if there are walls, how do we break through the walls? How do we handle this, right? So having a guide and a heart expert and a heart doctor is really essential for that purpose. I can perceive that.
It is, Sophie. The triple heart ones, it starts the process of, remember I just spoke about opening your heart and then connecting to source and connecting to Mother Earth, and then bringing the golden shaft down and then bringing it by the shoe, so that you just get comfortable with that. And that's so powerful. And then as you go through and you do the different ones, then you just access the heart and do, as I said, just either see yourself here and traveling down into your heart via a lift. So a lot of, there's a lot of people that can feel and do that. And, even if you're not visual, just use your imagination. Imagination is a wonderful thing. It's powerful. Yeah. And now, just say, okay, so let me just see if I can jump into this lift and go down to my heart. Yeah, and then you get down to the heart, and then you open the door and you step out into your beautiful heart center. I used to do that, and sometimes I still do, is with Mother Earth. I'll go down to Mother Earth and, open up this lift and have a discourse with her. Have a good old chat, and feel her love. Feel the healing and the caring that she has for us. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and we're in just a moment, we're going to go and take care of her. Let me wrap up before we go into this, which is going to be delicious, I'm sure. Let me wrap up. So we have option 2 is the 3 live workshops, Healing the Triple Heart, the 21-day reset and recalibration, that's remote healing, and 5 audios, Ultimate Heart Healing, plus 3 audio set, Triple Heart. That's option 2. And option 1 is all of that plus the 30-minute private session with the heart doctor, with Virginia, where you take care of everything of your physical, emotional, spiritual heart. And it comes with a 2-payment plan, even a 3-payment plan. So making it really accessible, really possible for everyone who wants to do so, to really take care of your heart and bringing this triple heart coherence and becoming a heart master, a heart-centered master. That's the destination where this program takes you. So thank you so much for offering this beautiful, wonderful package, Virginia. Everyone check you have all the details on the special offer page. Now, we'd love to have an experience with you, Virginia. We talked just a moment ago about Mother Earth. You're going to lead us on a live group energy process, assist Free Mother Earth, our world and our lives. So if there's anything you need to share about it, please do so. And when you're ready to get started, we are ready as well.
Thank you, Sophie. I can feel the energy building as you're talking. Yeah. And we all understand how the chaos in the world at the moment is taking its toll, not only on humans, but also on the plant kingdom, on the animal kingdom. You imagine all the bombing that's going on in the different countries right now, and the devastation that's happening not only with the human beings, but for all of the kingdoms that live on Mother Earth and within her. So with that being said, we'll just do a meditation on the clearing and uplifting for our Mother Earth. We live on her. She sustains us. And I don't think we do enough to respect her and send her the love that she sends us. So with that said, just cross your hands over your heart centers. Close your eyes. put you cross your hands over your heart center, which is in the middle of your chest. But whether you're listening to this live or in replay, just know that a protection has been put around you. Firstly, because of what Sophie did earlier on with the orb of grace, and that you're in a good place, in a safe place. We connect now to the triple heart, which we ask the triple heart for the triple heart activation, which is a simultaneous expansion from your own beautiful heart and simultaneously connecting with the heart of source and simultaneously connecting to Mother Earth. Everything explodes at once and the connection is made in an instant. At the same time, a golden shaft comes down and connects the three hearts together. Oh, goodness me. Now see that golden shaft expand to encapsulate your entire divine energy matrix and keeps you cocooned and protected within this beautiful matrix, this golden orb as it surrounds you. See it travel out now into your arms and your hands and into your minor chakras as well. This beautiful golden energy is connecting all through your own energy matrix as it goes all the way down from your crown through into your torso, down through your legs, your feet, and down to Mother Earth. And at the same time, we drop the grounding cord all the way down into the center of Mother Earth. Because without grounding, you can't manifest as you should do. Grounding is so important as we go do our special spiritual work each time. Now see before you a miniature version of Mother Earth and our intention that we are clearing this for her healing on every level possible. We understand Mother Earth is in great need of healing at this time. And collectively, we dedicate this procedure to be of service to every sentient being within and upon our beautiful Mother Earth. See the golden light now, which is constantly streaming from the three hearts. Saturate your hands and send that light to the miniature Mother Earth, which sits in front of your heart, with the intention to cleanse, purify, heal, release, and balance all of the negativity, the dross, the chaos, the devastation, the wars, the hatred that is being perpetrated at this time, the misinformation causing the chaos and adding to the collective consciousness on our planet. Having your hands around our beautiful miniature Mother Earth, we're sending all of our intentions to cleanse, heal, purify, release, and balance all of what is happening on her surface at this time. Let us free Mother Earth and all who live in and on her from the various devastations in the financial, political, religious, climatic, and social disruption that we are living through, for peace, harmony being our future reality. We ask that we clear all of those negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions, negative events. And to bring in peace and healing and compassion and love and bliss as the future for this world and for our Mother Earth, our future reality. Let us pay particular attention to the collective consciousness. And let's envision it as a dark cloud which surrounds Mother Earth. And let's see that golden light now start to penetrate and deactivate and neutralize and dissolve all of the great clouds of the collective consciousness now. Remembering to see Mother Earth saturated with this golden light. And we ask that every country, all our politicians and leaders, all those whose egos have already caused this confusion, be bathed in this beautiful golden light, transforming their egos to benefit and to be of benefit to Mother Earth and to our society, rather than destructing this beautiful planet which we call home. See that dark grey cloud now that surrounds us, that collective consciousness, now transformed into a beautiful golden cloud. So it's transforming from grey to gold. And be very confident and positive that the work that we have done here today as a group brings about the result that we have intended. Now let's see that golden shaft come back into the center of you, connecting the three hearts still together. And let us give gratitude, love, and thanks to the source of all that is, and see source energy retract and go back to source. Let's do the same. Give thanks, love, and gratitude to Mother Earth, and see her energy retract, go back down to her beautiful heart, and giving gratitude, love, and thanks to yourself for the instrument to help clear a lot of this dross, to bring in the golden color to the cloud, transforming and transmuting all that is needed in this time. And thank yourself too for the great service that you have performed for the whole. And so it is.
And so it is. And thank you, Virginia, for guiding us, leading us to be of great service. I love this offering. I love that we have something we can return to every day. It takes a few minutes. We can return to this, to the replay, and be guided by you to be very powerful and effective in our service and in putting our hearts to be of service. I love that. So thank you for this offering and the nature of this offering, inviting us all to put our hearts to service. What I really loved also, other than the getting us to be of service, which I'm totally all for that. So I really appreciate you doing that, Virginia. But what I really loved experiencing especially is that we get to experience your command of energy and how quick and how fast you are and how energy responds to your command. What I could perceive at the beginning was there was such a tension in the hearts at the evocation of all the devastation and all the, well, the state of the world as it was described. And there was really great tension in the hearts, like cringing. And the moment you brought the three hearts, our hearts, the heart of source, the heart of Mother Earth, and that explosion, this tension dissipated. And
Beautiful.
and indeed we cannot be effective in our service when our hearts are cringing, right?
Closed.
We are not good
Yeah.
transmitters. We are not, I mean, our good intentions get all tainted. But in just a moment, with your with your words and your command of energy, we were suddenly in a state, and the hearts were in a state in which they can be the instruments of this offering and of this service. And I really loved this experience. And yes, getting to experience the quickness, the fast, and the effectiveness of this. So thank you so much for
No,
that.
you're welcome, lovely. Thank you. I'm all about fast, quick, as much as it just, we don't have to agonize over things anymore. Now's the time we're being given with the energy that's coming through for everything to work. Because those times of dragging the feet and of, peeling the layers of the onion, they're gone. Get straight to the heart of things. Get straight to the heart of things. Where do you get there?
Straight to the heart of things at the speed of light, right? And you're a light activator. That's why you can do that, right? You work at the speed of light. You bring the speed of light in your work, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's interesting to hear it from your perspective, because, we don't see ourselves in certain ways, but listening to you unfolding as you're seeing this is a really lovely experience. So thank you, Sophie. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. You gifted us the experience that allowed this to be experienced and witnessed and acknowledged and thus verbalized. So thank you
my
so
lovely.
much. That was very brilliant. And I invite everyone to do use this opportunity. Whenever you feel anxious about the state of the world, either anxious or willing to be of service, these are your two signals. Like, what can I do? I don't know. Go back, take a few minutes, and let Virginia lead you masterfully through this. And
thank you, Sophie.
right?
For
thank you.
Sophie, we are such powerful beings. People don't realize just how powerful they are. We play small. Because we think, oh no, what impact have I got on the earth? No. As soon as you learn how to work with your heart and you expand it and you radiate that out of you, just bring in that golden shaft, because that's important, because it connects the three hearts, and then you expand it outside of you, and then you know that it's keeping you in a safe place, and then you just radiate that as much as you can. Just stand for, it doesn't have to be even for 5 minutes, but all you can do is just send that love out. You have the power to do this. This is why we came. This is why we are born for now. We knew this was coming, but we just, now that in its reality, because of the veils of forgetfulness, as you know, but now in its reality, it's all like shock and awe. Yes, everybody goes, oh my God, what's happening? No, don't get pulled into the mire of that emotion. Don't look at it for what it is. It's happening. There's no right, there's no wrong. It just is. And in the just is, we then come in and shine the light. End of story. That's it.
That's right. And I can feel how our hearts are so thirsty and hungry for that. Our hearts want to be of service. Let's reclaim our hearts, bring them in coherence, bring them everything in their right place, to allow our hearts to do what they are just so willing to do. And yeah, you're right, that's what we came here to do. Let's just do it.
When you're not hopeless people out, you are
Yeah,
so magnificently powerful. Just know it, and just take your power back and use that power that lies within you. Here it is. All right, it's in everybody. It doesn't matter whether you've closed it down or not. The more you start to do this, the more it'll open slowly but surely. All right. So yeah.
yeah,
Thank you, Sophie.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Virginia. So let me wrap up before giving you the closing word, Virginia. Triple Heart Coherence. Go to gracefulconnections.com/Virginia2, or just scroll down the page, get all the details. Option 2, the 3 live workshops, 21-day reset and recalibration, that's remote healing, and the 5 audio set plus 3 audio set, that's option 2. And option 1 is all of that plus the brilliant and quick, fast, let's get it done, 30 minutes session with Virginia, taking care of your heart, of your 3 hearts. And 2 payment option, even 3 payment option. Go get all the details and get your heart empowered again, get your heart in its right place and empowered and ready to be of service, to create, to be inspired, to express, to do all that you came here to do. And we'll meet again with, before I give you the final word, Virginia, we meet again. I want to remind everyone on Friday, November 17th at 9 a.m. Pacific for an Intuitive Readings Galore live call. And Virginia will answer your question. What's my number 1 point of heart in coherence? So that's we're gonna get very personal. That's where you're gonna get your indications, and it's gonna be wonderful. If you can't attend the live call, make sure to request your reading in advance and then catch up with the replay to receive Virginia's insights and wisdom. You have the link as well in the video description of this video. Virginia, you've offered so much, shared so much. Is there any word, anything more that you would like to say, to offer as a closing?
Sophie, we've spoken about so many different things today, and so many parts of the different hearts that have put us into a place of disconnect, no matter what it is, disconnected from our emotions, disconnected from our physicality, disconnected from our spirituality. But the thing that I would like everybody to take away with them is just remember who you are. Just remember your greatness. Just remember how incredible, what the incredible work that you can do, because you have that within you. You don't have to bring it in from outside. You don't have to go looking at in a cupboard door. You don't have to come to people like me to find this out. Just do it. All right? Just do it. That's the most important thing that I can say, because you have so much to contribute to your life, our lives, because we're a collective here, our lives here on earth, to help and be of service. This is so important. That's why we came, to be of service. The more service that you extend from yourself, the more you give of your inherent service, from my understanding, the more brownie points you get in heaven, huh? Okay? So you get brownie points in heaven from all the good work that you do when you're on earth. So why not do the service and just send the love out, because it's there, it's free. Just do it from your heart. Thank you, Sophie.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And yes, we don't need you in absolute terms, but in order to reclaim our hearts, we might well need you in order to reclaim and re-empower our hearts, bring our heart to its right place and its right function and its right empowerment, right? So thank you so much.
I think, Sophie, basically it's with me, it's just like what's the word I'm looking for? Just rediscovering the heart. Does that make sense? Rediscovering the power of the heart.
Yeah.
Basically, that's all I'm here for, is to help you to rediscover the power that you have inherently already lying within you.
Yeah, let's feel it in our hearts. And how does that sound to our hearts? It sounds delicious. That's what I
It's
can pick
beautiful. Yeah.
up. Yeah. Whew, thank you. Thank you. Let's
You're
take a
welcome,
moment,
lovely.
everyone, to come back, to be present in our orb of grace. It's been there holding us. Let's allow it to keep holding us. We bring back our attention to being in the orb of grace, being held in grace. With all that we've received, discovered, experienced today, all that we're not even yet aware that we have received, allowing it to settle in, to reveal itself in its own time, in its own way, as we are held in the orb of grace, for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. And I'm closing now by giving gratitude to each and every one of you in the audience. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of grace and to the calling of your three hearts to come together in coherence. Huge gratitude to you, amazing Virginia Rounds Griffiths, for all the wisdom, the brilliance, and the offerings you gifted us today through all the graceful connections that have been woven with you and with your masterful expertise. Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you, Sophie. What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and our pleasure to be with you. And we give also all our gratitude to Christel Hughes and the Academy for the Soul, offering this platform in which graceful connections grow and expand, impacting our lives, our environment, and the world at large, creating heaven on earth. From the heart. That's how we do it, for sure.
That's for sure.
That's for sure. That's how we do it, right?
Yes.
Gratitude to the Orb of Grace for providing a safe, sacred space for this journey of exploration. Gratitude for all the grace we are blessed with at every moment, whether we are aware of it or not. It offers all the nourishment, the nurturing, the healing, revelations, and the realizations that we open our hearts to receive all along this journey. Gratitude to our higher selves and all the higher beings who guide, support, and protect us. And gratitude to the divine. Thank you. Gratitude to our hearts, of course. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Virginia. Until we meet again, many graceful blessings to you all. And goodbye now.
Thank you.